Hey there, thank you so much for being with us here on the College Investor Audio Show. Welcome. Today we talk about this. House spending bill would eliminate subsidized student loans to pay for Pell. We'll dive in just a second. Quick reminder, anytime you hear a topic, you can always dive deeper at thecollegeinvestor.com. There's an article along with the podcast you can find. You can also check us out on social media. We're anywhere you are. Just type in the words The College Investor and you'll find us. Alrighty, let's take a look at this House spending bill. The House Appropriations Subcommittee on Labor, Health, and Human Services, Education and Related Agencies, say that 5 times fast, released its fiscal year 2027 spending bill. You can find the PDF file if you want. Riveting read. And it pays for a Pell Grant increase by permanently ending subsidized federal student loans. Okay, now this is important to note. This is just the Appropriations Subcommittee to the actual big committee, and then it still has to pass the subcommittee and then the other one, and then it has to go to the House, and it has to pass the Senate, and then it gets signed by the President. There's a long way for this to go. It probably will not go. It's also important to note that this did not go through when it was introduced as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This part of it didn't pass. So, just so you know, people are against this. It probably won't pass. But it's nice to talk about it anyway and at least have it on your mind. The bill cuts the U.S. Department of Education's budget by 10%, or $8 billion, with deep reductions to K-12 programs, federal work study, and education research. It's the first step in a long appropriations process, but the headline trade-off is clear. Students gain a small Pell bump and then lose one of the most affordable loans available to them. Let's take a look at some numbers. $7,445. That's the new maximum Pell Grant award, which is a $50 increase. $15 billion plus mandatory spending added to close the Pell shortfall. $16 billion projected 10-year savings from eliminating subsidized loans, redirected entirely to Pell. $6,000 average increase in student loan debt per borrower from losing the subsidy per a National College Attainment Network or NCAN analysis. 84%. That's the share of Pell recipients who take out student loans, compared to under half of non-Pell students. Here's what the proposed changes look like. Subsidized loans go to undergrads and demonstrated financial need, and the government covers the interest while the student is in school. Under the bill, no new subsidized loans would be issued after July 1st of 2027. There's kind of a grandfathering clause where students already borrowing would actually keep their eligibility through the end of their program. In place of subsidized loans, undergraduates could borrow the same amount in unsubsidized loans, but interest would actually accrue from day one, which adds thousands in cost over the life of the loan. The bill also cuts federal work study by 26% to $908 million and the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, FSEOG, by 40% to just a tick under $550 million. Michelle Zampini, Associate Vice President for Federal Policy and Advocacy, or TICUS, warned the math doesn't favor low-income students. Quote, eliminating subsidized loans, which go to undergraduate students with high financial need, could just increase overall college costs for these students by thousands of dollars. Let's connect the dots. The proposal revives an idea from last year's OBBBA, One Big Beautiful Bill, debate that didn't make the final law, but the broader trend is already locked in. The reconciliation bill enacted in 25 cut more than $300 billion in federal student loans over a decade, and a wave of changes takes effect July 1st of 26, including a new $257,500 lifetime borrowing limit, annual and lifetime caps on Parent Plus loans, which we've covered in extensive detail in previous podcasts, loan proration for part-time students, and the end of Grad Plus loans. Eliminating subsidized loans on top of all this other stuff would potentially push more students toward private student loans, where rates are higher and protections are weaker, or prevent them from borrowing for college at all. You would think that there would be more competition in the market, which would lower the prices, but anyway, I digress on there. But for families weighing how to pay for college, the affordability gap that subsidized loans were designed to fill is shrinking fast. I would also argue on the other side of it that subsidized loans have become mostly the way people think college is paid for. When we try to change that narrative and help you to pay for college without taking out loans at all, which you can find lots and lots of resources for you at thecollegeinvestor.com. Another digression there, sorry. Back to the topic. It's important to remember that this is a subcommittee proposal. It's not a law, as we touched on earlier. It has to clear the full Appropriations Committee, not just the subcommittee, the House floor, the Senate, before anything reaches the president. So just go ahead and expect that the subsidized loan provision to be kind of a flashpoint as negotiations continue. And that is our show for today. Like I mentioned, there are lots of ways to pay for college without taking out loans, or at least helping in the process so you can eliminate some of these, anxiety-creating, stress-inducing things, changes coming. It's all at thecollegeinvestor.com. So much there to dive into. You can also like, subscribe, get to know us, drop us a line on social media. Search for the words The College Investor. You'll find us. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.